Let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Personal branding is something that can make you visible to the recruiter's eye. Hey, Chris,
Hi, Umar.
a little bit about myself. I am a software developer. I've been in the industry for about 8.5 years. I am very enthusiastic about AI and tech in general. This is the QR code. If you haven't linked with me already, you can scan that and link up. We're going to do a little bit of intros, and then we're going to go in and check out what you need to do for your LinkedIn profile in order for getting visibility from recruiters. Then we're going to go in and check out how we can use GitHub portfolio to boost your profile. We're going to talk a little bit about personal website. And then I'm going to talk about resume building and visibility and what that means. So we'll see how far we get there, especially in this limited time, but here we go. We can talk about what's your name. Then you can talk about like where you're based, and then what's a weird pet you wish you had.
My name is Chris. I'm in a small town in Saskatchewan, and I I wish I had a dragon. I guess like a little one that could just fly around the house or something.
Pretty cool.
My name is Bahore, and I'm based in Coquitlam in close to Vancouver, and I have no idea about my weird pets.
All right. So with that, let's kick off our first topic, which is working on your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn profile is a huge part of any professional who is in tech field or in any field in general. Based on the research, 87% of the recruiters actually use LinkedIn nowadays to source and screen candidates. Have you guys seen as well that people have started to use LinkedIn more?
Omar, I agree with you. I think they much look at linking because, for example, I see when I applied for a job, I see someone from that company reviewed my LinkedIn profile. It confirms that the linking is very important.
What about you, Chris?
I think it depends on where you are. I used to live in Vancouver and then recently moved to a very small town in Saskatchewan. And I think in a big city, they would look at your LinkedIn. But here, I've been applying for a variety of jobs and they prefer resumes and sometimes even like printed out resumes.
All right. And then another fun fact is that 6 to 7 a number of people get hired via LinkedIn every minute. Other than that, over 20 million job listings are available on LinkedIn at any time. And that's global. So that doesn't include your area specifically in that. So there's a lot of opportunity on LinkedIn for remote roles developer is looking for. Now we kind of clarified that LinkedIn is a huge marketplace and it plays a huge role in a professional career ladder. So what are some of the things that you should do and what you shouldn't do? So the number one thing that you should do is have a professional smiling photo. Professional smiling photo is a must. Now, one of the examples I put in here is this example I found on LinkedIn. The background needs to be very dim, even blurred, and your face needs to be very focused. My recommendation is to get a professional photo taken from a photo studio. Now, one of the photos that I found on LinkedIn, believe it or not, this is on LinkedIn. Somebody is sitting on a bench in a park. Having a photo like that on your LinkedIn profile doesn't really show that you're really professional. And this is another one that I found on LinkedIn. So another example of what not to do on LinkedIn. Okay. The next thing is the headline. So next to your photo is the headline, tells a huge story of who you are, what you are able to do. Doing something like just putting in your job title is not enough. So putting in something like human resource coordinator or software engineer in general or software security engineer. A good example of job heading would be something like software full stack developer, and then some of the tech stacks that the person is interested in. Then another one is here, building world-class tech and leadership teams, 10 plus years of experience, ex software engineer, executive search. So that heading tells you a lot about that professional person. The about summary needs to be short: what you do, what you care about, your tech stacks, and what kind of roles you want. So these are the things that you want to put in your profile. Some of the examples of what not to put is just one liner saying software engineer with some problem solving experience. That's it. That's something that you don't want. Another one is just in the about section, they put in technical lead and machine learning engineer. That's it. The person is saying that I'm a very simple and humble person with always faithful and loyal towards my work. Now things like that, they're a little bit personal to a person and they can be subjective as well. And then they put in even like I'm loyal towards my family and friends. So something like that doesn't really reflect their professional values, right? A person who's looking at your profile needs to know how much of a professional you are. So a good example is this summary is actually spot on. I'm a full stack and DevOps enthusiast, passionate about building impactful projects. So the first line, I love it. It tells you who they are, what they're passionate about, and what impact that they want to bring. My primary languages are Python and Java. So here they're telling about exactly what their proficiency language or tech stack is. Then they talk about, and I enjoy creating solutions that span both front end and back end development. Now, this is a whole story they're telling about, like their professional experience, what they're interested in. And then they say, I'm also experienced with Docker and Linux environments, supporting my work in scalable and efficient deployment setup. Now, pretty spot on. Could have been summarized, yes, but I think it's pretty good. And then in the end, they talk about what they're interested in. So they say, I am seeking internship opportunities in Canada or remote to continue developing my skills and contribute to innovative teams. My public projects can be found on my GitHub. So they talked about who they are, what their skills are. They talked about what they're passionate about, what kind of impact they want to make, what kind of opportunities they're looking for, and some about their public profile. Like pretty perfect. Next up, we have the featured section. Now, this was pretty recently introduced, and a lot of people have ignored this section. But in my opinion, this is actually really valuable. It's like a catalog of things that the recruiter can look on your profile. So what are the things that you can put in this featured section? Well, first up, you can put your portfolio link in there. Then the events you attended. So, like you can create a post about attending this event and then put it in the featured section. And then the projects that you've published or anything that you've created recently, you can put it in your featured section. And any sort of big achievement in your career, whether it's getting a certification, whether it's getting a degree, anything that you have achieved in your career. You guys haven't? Okay, let me just show you real quick what the featured section actually looks
How
like.
new is it?
It is not that new. It's been there for a while. And then this is the featured section. So you can put any sort of achievement that you've done. Mine are mostly like if I had done any volunteer work or if I had done any talk anywhere, I put it in the featured section. The next thing a lot of people don't take seriously is getting recommendations on their profile. So that is one thing. Like, let me ask you this. How many times have you reached out to your colleagues in the company that you're working in or the past company to give you a recommendation on LinkedIn?
Never.
Yeah, only 2 times. 2 recommendations I have in my.
But in my opinion, getting a recommendation nowadays on LinkedIn is getting even more important than an experience letter, because this is something that shows up directly on your profile and shows up in the front page. So even before reviewing your resume, the first thing that they're going to see, the recruiter is going to see, is your recommendations on your LinkedIn profile. So it's really important to get recommendations. And one of the reasons why someone can't get recommendations is because once you have worked with the person and you've moved on to another career, it's really hard for someone to reach out to that person that you had worked with before and then get recommendations from that person. The best way to get recommendations is during the time that you're working with the person. Maybe you did a big project together, maybe you did some sort of achievement together, maybe you had worked alongside them or worked under them or they worked under you in management. Just reach out to them and and say that you need a recommendation. One thing is that you need to be really kind and take out your puppy dog eyes, or in this case cat eyes, to get the recommendations. Do what you have to do, but getting that recommendation is going to help you in the long run, 100%. Like engaging in 2 to 3 posts a month is really essential to boost your profile in LinkedIn. It can be something that other people have done and you post it on your profile. I thought I reached peak productivity with Cursor. Then I tried Google Anti-Gravity, which is a new IDE by Google. So all this is doing is basically just sharing their professional thoughts on LinkedIn, which is, in my opinion, is very important to get more visibility from recruiters. All right, GitHub portfolio. If a developer or an engineer is looking at your profile, they're probably going to end up on your GitHub and look how much you have contributed in the past year or so. So that's why it's really important to have a good GitHub profile. And then 75% of hiring managers prefer candidates with project portfolio. So that project portfolio could be on GitHub, could be on your personal website, but 75% hiring managers are looking for some projects that you have to demo. So how to create a GitHub profile? That's the number one thing. A lot of people don't know that this process is actually pretty simple. All you have to do is create a project name with your username on GitHub. And I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek on how to do this. It's very simple. So I'll just share. So basically, this is my GitHub portfolio, which is on my GitHub username, Umar Khardan 7. And the way that I created this is actually pretty easy. All you do is you create a new repository, and then the name of the repository needs to be your GitHub username. So my username is Umar Khardan 7. So as soon as I type this, you can see like it says, this one is a special repository that you can use to add a README dot markdown to your GitHub profile. Make sure it's public and initialized with README to get started. That you see on my portfolio, it's not manually written. It's actually generated. So let me show you. So all you do is you go to Google and type in GitHub portfolio or profile generator. So the first link that pops up is this one, and I'll open that one. It's I can't pronounce it, but starts with Rahul. And then all you do is add your title, for example, Khalid, subtitle, and then you can add in your work, and you can select the skills that you have been working on. And it also gives you add-ons. So you saw those cool things that on my profile, like this GitHub stats, GitHub trophies, and things like that. You can generate those by just picking all of these, or you can look up Google on any other add-ons that you can add. So once you've done all of this, all you do is just click on generate the README, and it will take a bit, but it will basically create that whole README for you, and you just copy that and you paste it in the repository that you created. So it's very simple process. You create the repository, you create the readme.md file, you replace that readme.md file from the generated readme.md from any GitHub profile readme generator. So having a personal website is very important. And why it's important is because 56% of hiring managers are more impressed by personal website than other personal branding. So about half of the hiring managers are really impressed by looking at your personal website. The other good thing is that only 7% of job seekers have a personal website. Let me ask you this, Chris. Do you have a website?
No.
So after this lecture, I think the first thing you should do is create your own website.
Okay.
Bahare, do you have a website?
No.
Nowadays, with vibe coding, it's really easy to set up a website. Let me show you the website I have. It's umarkhalid.com. Vibe coded, and even it has a dark mode in it. So all it is basically just tells you about my name, what my tech stack is, a little bit about myself, and then it shows a little bit timeline of what I had been working on. And then some of the feature projects. 84% of professionals reported receiving tangible careers who own a personal website. Why it's important is because it is your long-term portfolio. Let's say tomorrow LinkedIn bans your profile. All the work that you've been doing, all the effort that you've been putting in your LinkedIn profile, gone. But your personal website is key to your long-term portfolio. It helps you build your brand. With your website, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. And I'll show you really good examples of personal portfolio websites that people have created. I'll give you some tips on how to create website. I'll show you actually. v0.dev is a website that you can go to, and you can type in the prompt what you want to build. For example, like I want to build a personal portfolio website for a full stack developer, but should be designer style. And then you can start by there, and then it's going to ask you a few questions here and there, and then it's going to build that website automatically for you. This is going to be like a full-fledged website on React. So let me show you. All you do on Vercel is you can just like add a domain here, and you can connect your GitHub with Vercel. So for example, I recently created this project called What the Tokens. All I did was I connected the repository, my GitHub repository, to Vercel, and every time I make a push to the main branch, it automatically deploys that code onto this website, What the Tokens. And I can show you this website is live, whatthetokens.com. So look, it actually created a portfolio for me, I guess. Tried to create something uh, like this. It has about section, a professional journey. All of these are fake, and it even put me in Lahore. Featured work, skills, expertise, start your next project. Any questions, Bahare, Chris?
Your website was umarkhalid.com.
Yeah, mine is umarkhalid.com. Yes.
Did you have to pay for that domain, or were you able to get that for free?
Very good question. So domains are always going to be paid, and a lot of people have different services that they use to buy domains. But the one that I prefer and recommend is called Cloudflare. So the way that I buy domains is you go and sign up to Cloudflare, and then you go manage domains. So here in register domains, all you do is you look up, let's say, chriswithking.com. And if I search for that, this one is available, and it's just $10. Okay, last up is resume building. That I've actually scheduled another event for next week for how to boost your resume by 300%. So you can scan this code, and you can sign up for that next week's event. That is only going to be talking about resume building and visibility. But yeah, that's it for me. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you got a lot out of that presentation. I will end the recording here.